All right, we're here, Bianca. Finally, great to be with everyone. Another topic on everyone's mind today, of course, is inflation. And today, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen facing a congressional committee to talk about President Biden's 2023 budget after she admitted she was wrong about inflation from the beginning. Here's the Treasury Secretary.
With respect to energy, the administration has done everything that they can to bring down energy costs, for example, through an historic release of 1 million barrels a day from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and energy prices, gas prices, while very high, have risen a lot. They would be higher without that.
Yellen's testimony before the Senate Finance Committee comes as gas prices in all 50 states again hitting a new record high today. Yellen also recently admitted that she was wrong in 2021 when she said inflation was transitory and would recede quickly.
Yes, we all remember that, don't we, John? All right, joining us now, Congressman Richard Hudson, who serves the 8th District of North Carolina. Great to have you with us today, Congressman.
Great to be with you, Bianca. Thank you.
Congressman, let's focus on Janet Yellen. Now, she's served as both Treasury Secretary and the Fed Chairman. One would think that this would be her strong suit. You know, either she was lying to us about inflation being transitory, or she didn't know that pumping all this money into the economy would be this consequential. Which one do you think it was?
Well, she's certainly got some explaining to do, John. Inflation is now costing the average American household $5,200 extra a year. We're at 40-year high. And even the San Francisco Fed recently said that the reason we're experiencing high inflation is because of government spending that is out of control. It's obvious. It was obvious to Larry Summers and to many experts before they passed their $1.9 trillion latest spending bill. Biden's policies are directly causing this inflation.
You know, and they're dropping the adjective transitory, at least, Congressman. But at this point, even with the mea culpa from Yellen that we're seeing, what's your response to all the excuses this administration has made for inflation, and how you believe now it will come to impact the Democrats this November?
Well, they keep making excuses, but the worst part, Bianca, is they don't have a plan to fix it. Republicans have a plan. Our plan is get people back to work and to stop the out-of-control spending. You know, the Republican Study Committee is coming out with a budget this week that'll balance in 7 years. That's the kind of fiscal responsibility we need to get this country back on the right path.
Yeah, I mean, 7 years is a long time when you think about it, too, Congressman. Also, a short period of time, but something's got to change with the economy. We also wanted to ask you about what you're working on in Capitol Hill when it comes to our Second Amendment rights. Senator Chris Murphy, who is leading this negotiation with Republican senators, says he is optimistic that some kind of deal can get done, but he wants the president to stay out of it. Take a listen.
I think the Senate needs to do this ourselves. I've talked to the White House every single day since these negotiations began, but right now the Senate needs to handle these negotiations. I think this week we need to have concepts to present to our colleagues. I don't know that we're going to vote this coming week, but we need to make decisions on whether or not we have a sustainable package in the next 5 days.
You know, Chris Murphy's been saying the same thing basically ever since the Sandy Hook shooting. Is there any willingness in Congress, Congressman, to get something done on this? And have you heard any proposals that have bipartisan support that you would be willing to support?
I think there absolutely is an opportunity here, but unfortunately, the Democrats in the House and the national mainstream media have framed this debate as a choice. Only two options: either you're for gun control or you want to do nothing and let children continue to die. And it's a false choice. There is a third option, which is to, as the Democrats, their mantra is let's just do something. Well, Republicans, we say let's do something that matters, and that's we've come to the table with 8 or 9 policy alternatives. I've got legislation I'm dropping this week that puts $1 billion towards grants for schools to hire school resource officers, $1 billion towards hiring more guidance counselors so we can intervene with these children, and $5 billion towards the Stop School Violence Act, which is a bill we had signed into law in 2018 that gives money to harden schools, to train for active shooter scenarios, and to train school officials and students on how to identify these children who are troubled children. Imagine if we had been able to intervene with this Uvalde shooter before he dropped out of high school. Problem. Gun control doesn't work. If gun control works, Chicago would be the safest city in America.
Yeah, and it's a good point, Congressman, as we see the, continued fatalities in cities like Chicago over the weekend and over the Memorial Day long weekend. And it still seems that there's also mixed messages coming from the White House. So while you talk about the work you're doing and the bipartisan support, hard to really read between the lines when you have White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre stumbling over simple questions from reporters. Let's play this clip for you.
You said he's giving them space. I mean, he's not in regular communication with either the Democrats or Republicans involved in that
I'll say
compromise.
this. What I can say is that, I'm not going to, as we like to say, we don't read out any private conversations, and I've mentioned this last week, our Office of Leg Affairs, his Office of Leg Affairs have been in constant communications since the Uvalde shootings, more than dozens of conversations with leadership in Congress, with the negotiators, and also with staff.
Hard to understand really, why she's being so vague. If there is, some work or some things that can be, lauded or applauded, what's your reaction to her answer there?
What was even more disturbing was after the president's gun control speech the other night, she was asked, is he concerned at all with hardening schools and school safety? And she said the president's not concerned with that at all. That's what concerns me. If we want to actually do something that's going to stop these shootings, we ask the Democrats to come to the table. We've got policy ideas. The Republicans are going to be offering an alternative this week that will actually put resources into these schools, allow these schools to do what they need, what they determine their needs are. It also allows the federal government to do assessments of any school and their security on their mental health services. We can bring forces to bear to stop these shootings. But all it seems that Biden and the liberals want to talk about is gun control. But they're going to have 8 bills on the floor this week in the House, and not a single one would have prevented one of these shootings.
Congressman, this is a tough topic. I know you're working on it on Capitol Hill there, and there are things that could be done immediately, but there doesn't seem to be the appetite to do those things, namely hardening schools. The other stuff is a much more difficult conversation. We appreciate your time here with us today. Take care, Congressman.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.